Chapter 2. 17 Ways Europe is More Conservative Than America. 17 Ways Europe is More Right-Wing Than America. 17 Ways America is More Left-Wing Than Europe. 17 Ways the Left opposes making America like Europe. The claim that the United States of America is more politically right-wing than Europe, or that the Democratic Party would be a right-wing or center-right party in Europe, is such a red herring. People mention taxpayer-paid health care, a more generous welfare state, taxpayer-paid college, university, and stricter weapon laws, but not other issues. I get most, but not all of my points from the following article and video. 7 Ways Europe is More Conservative Than the U.S. by Swaroop Hoop B, and 6 Ways the Left opposes making the U.S. more like Europe, up by Freedom Alternative. 1. Voter identification. Virtually every single democracy in the world requires people to present some form of identification before they vote. The two exceptions to this that I'm aware of are Uganda and some states of the United States of America. If hundreds of millions of poor and even illiterate people in India can obtain voter identification, I'm pretty sure that the poor and members of minorities in the United States of America, where the poor are better off than most of the Indian middle class, can find the Department of Motor Vehicles office just fine. Not to mention how there are dozens of things in life that require identification, such as driving a car, writing a check, buying a firearm, and so much more. 2. Corporate taxes and regulations. Before Trump was sworn into office, the United States of America had one of the highest corporate tax rates in the world, at 35%, higher than any European country, with the exception of Greece, which had the corporate tax at 58% for year 1 and 29% for year 2. No wonder why it was hard for many American businesses to get investments, especially small businesses which cannot afford accountants or legal teams to make tax credits or write-offs for such. Wikipedia's article lists the countries by tax rates as it appears on January 16th, 2017 is my source for this. Also, some, but not all, European countries have simpler regulations than the United States federal government and some state governments. Liechtenstein, Switzerland, the Czech Republic, the United Kingdom, Denmark, Norway, and Sweden haven't adopted the euro as their currency. Apprenticeships. Many conservatives and libertarians believe that college isn't for everyone, and that there should be programs for people who need job training but not a college degree. Apprenticeships are common in many European countries, particularly Germany, a world leader in manufacturing. Unlicensed physicians. Physician assistants and nurse practitioners in America are typically not allowed to diagnose patients or prescribe medicine like their European counterparts. In Europe, less expensive procedures can be done by lower skilled, while less expensive doctors will freeing up more expensive procedures by higher who are skilled, more expensive doctors. Also, European countries tend to be more permissive about foreign trained and educated doctors who is working in their jurisdiction than American states, which often require doctors to be educated in the United States, licensed in the United States, or in their particular state, or at a minimum do a complete residency to be licensed to practice medicine. This is a big reason why Europe spends less on healthcare than America, and that's before I get into the regulatory capture, regulatory red tape, and convoluted payment system. 5. Drug approval process. Drugs take longer to get approved for sale in America than in Europe. Europe has a more decentralized drug approval process than America, not to mention the fact that Europe has less regulatory capture, and many European countries have simpler and easier to understand regulations than America. European governments have more or less realized that market forces alone does a lot to prevent bad drugs from being placed on the market. This is a big reason and why Europe spends less on healthcare than America. Infrastructure spending. The The quote, Swope B's, his article, well, Europe uses something called an infrastructure bank, which leverages private capital to fund large-scale infrastructure projects, such as bridges, airports, etc. The private companies are obviously not doing it for free. They charge fees and tolls to cover their capital cost. Compare this to the US, where most infrastructure projects are funded by government money and for which that you can't contract out the work. It has to be done by local union labor. Europe has basically adopted a conservative, free market idea of privatizing infrastructure, whereas has quote-unquote free market America builds infrastructure in a socialist way. Freedom Alternative himself disagrees with Trump on the issue of infrastructure spending, but finds it surprising that many leftists disagree with Trump on infrastructure spending as well. When asked about how the issue, Trump spoke like a classical European social democrat politician, seeing infrastructure spending as a job scheme to help the underprivileged, believes that local businesses should be used, and being open to government and private partnerships in rehabilitating and or expanding American infrastructure. 7. Cutting waste in college campuses. Many European colleges are actually no frills compared to their American counterparts. European college students live off campus more often than their American counterparts. 8. Tort reform. Many American states don't penalize people for being found wrong in civil court. Some European countries, however, have adopted the idea of loser pays as a way of discouraging frivolous lawsuits. However, I personally have other ideas. I've read about the lowest bidder idea, in which neither party in a court case can spend more money on a trial than the other party. I also read about another system which I'll call the Oceanic system, a reference to the imaginary country of Oceania, which is similar to the lowest bidder, but instead, both parties must agree to a court budget, and the richer party may contribute money to the poorer party if it so chooses, and anyone caught cheating with their budgets can be convicted for contempt of court by the jury. I favor the Oceanic system the most. Restricted or no birthright citizenship. The United States of America and Canada are the world's only two countries that practice birthright citizenship, or just solely, with almost no restrictions. And while the Western countries do practice just solely, it is with more restrictions. 10. 20-week abortion ban. With the exception of Sweden, and where the limit is set to 16 weeks, the United Kingdom, where the issue is unclear, and the Netherlands, no European country permits abortion and after 14 weeks at the latest, and many are lower than that. Countries such as Poland, Malta, and Ireland set the limit at 0 weeks. Meanwhile, the authoritarian regimes of Vietnam, China, and North Korea seemingly have no limits. 11. Official language and language requirements. Almost every single country in Europe and most countries in the world require immigrants to learn the official language or an official language. Also, countries like Mexico and Finland, being born in Mexico or Finland doesn't automatically make one a national or citizen, and Mexico goes to great lengths to differentiate between Mexican nationals and Mexican citizens. And I know that Mexico isn't a part of Europe, but Freedom Alternative mentions Mexico. 12. Having one's documents in order and being identifiable. In many European countries, having an identification card is compulsory by law, and law enforcement regularly conduct raids to arrest illegal aliens. There are factions of the left that oppose law enforcement, like Immigration Customs Enforcement, enforcing immigration laws. I hate forcing people out of countries, but I support immigration restrictions out of pure pragmatism. 13. Government-funded churches and monarchy. European countries of state churches are Denmark, England, Greece, Hungary, Iceland, Liechtenstein, and Malta, Monaco, and Norway. I'm opposed to monarchy, as that I'm against gaining positions, hence by birthright and not merit, or giving resources to people by birthright. I'm a strong supporter of the separation of church and state. 14. Burqa ban. The Constitution of the United States, for the most part, gives the states control over their internal affairs. This means that the federal government of the United States cannot introduce or enforce a burqa ban off federal property or off federal documents, and cannot do a national burqa ban. Other than that, only the states may enforce anti-mask laws, and that is if, and only if, both the state's constitution and judicial branch allow the enforcement of anti-mask law. European countries such as Romania, Austria, Denmark, the Netherlands, Belgium, and France, and even the Muslim majority countries of Chad, Morocco, and Tajikistan all have a national burqa ban. Even Muslim majority countries like Algeria, Azerbaijan, Egypt, Tunisia, and Turkey all have restrictions on face coverings or even headscarves in at least some some public buildings or public workplaces, which is still more the United States federal government. Even in some states with anti-mask laws, wearing a mask is essentially only illegal if someone is trying to intimidate someone else, threatening someone else, or otherwise committing a crime, and wearing a mask for religious purposes is legal. Even in a lot of conservative states, wearing a niqab, burqa, etc. is perfectly legal. And even in states with anti-mask laws were written and passed as to combat criminals in the Ku Klux Klan decades or even over a century before America has problems with the Muslim world. I agree with requiring people to show their face for identification purposes. But otherwise, I don't care much for burqa bans. I see burqa bans as window dressing for immigration problems. No pun intended. And actual immigration restrictions and enforcement of said restrictions are leaps and bounds more effective than banning people from covering their faces. 15. Whale hunting. Norway, Iceland, and Denmark still permit whale hunting. 16. Conscription. Austria, Finland, Greece, Switzerland, and Turkey all practice circumcision. Conscription. in Denmark, Estonia, Lithuania, and Sweden also practice conscription, but less than 20% of young people are recruited. 17. LGBT rights. A lot of people forget how late many European countries are when it comes to rights for queer people. Let's check out Wikipedia. Countries that lack hate crime and hate speech laws as for queers are Bulgaria, Czech Republic, Italy, and Latvia. Though Italy, Latvia, and Poland do have some anti-discrimination laws. Adoption and queer couples have restrictions on adopting in Bulgaria, Cyprus, Hungary, constitutional ban, Latvia, Lithuania, Poland, Romania, and Slovakia, and to a lesser degree the Czech Republic. Bulgaria, constitutional ban, Croatia, constitutional ban, Czech Republic pending, Greece, Hungary, constitutional ban, Latvia, constitutional ban, Lithuania, constitutional ban, Poland, constitutional ban, Romania, Slovakia, constitutional ban, and Slovenia. Civil unions, hence for LGBT people, are not recognized in Bulgaria, Lithuania, Poland, and Latvia, Slovakia, and Romania. Unregistered representation isn't recognized in Belgium, Bulgaria, Cyprus, Estonia, Finland, Germany, Greece, Latvia, Lithuania, Luxembourg, and Romania. Conclusion. So tell me again, who is more right-wing? And is the American Democratic Party really a centrist, center-right, or right-wing party now? Please support the Substack blogs, America vs. Europe and the World, and Arguments Against Leftism. Here's my social media link tree, which I ask that you keep archive. You keep the link and archive my content. And please